You don't control events. You control your response. Most people hear that and think it's poetic, but that sentence has outlived empires. It wasn't scribbled in a self-help journal. It was the operating code of kings, generals, and prisoners who refused to let reality define them. Marcus Aurelius wrote it between battles. Nelson Mandela embodied it through 27 years in prison. And modern neuroscience is only now confirming what ancient philosophy already knew. The mind can be trained, shaped, rewired. We've all been taught that our reactions are automatic, that if someone disrespects us, we must defend ourselves. If something breaks us, we must break back. But what if I told you this isn't hardwired behavior? It's just untrained circuitry. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll through headlines, outrage, fear, confusion. Every tap triggers micro floods of cortisol. Every notification is a precision-engineered interruption, retraining your amygdala to react faster, harder, louder. Not because you chose it, but because your brain was hijacked. And it happens over 500 times a day, according to smartphone usage studies from MIT. The average person checks their phone 96 times daily. Each time, it reinforces a habit loop. Trigger emotional spike reaction dopamine. It's a neural casino, and you don't even know you're gambling your calm away. Now imagine if you could break that cycle. Not with willpower, but with a rule. A single mental distinction that slices through chaos like a blade. The Stoics called it the dichotomy of control. What depends on me? What does not? This isn't just philosophy. In cognitive neuroscience, this mirrors control appraisal theory. When people sort problems into controllable and uncontrollable, their stress levels drop by up to 40%, according to research from Stanford. When you divide your world into two boxes, control, no control, you eliminate the impossible fight with reality. And once the fight stops, energy returns. Focus sharpens. Clarity arrives. Your mind isn't cluttered with resistance anymore. It's optimized for strategy, movement, response. This isn't spirituality. This is neuroefficiency, and it's how top performers remain calm while others drown in reaction. We think freedom is reacting to whatever we want. But real freedom is being able not to react at all. Because behind every overreaction is an untrained brain. And behind every moment of peace is a mind that refused to be baited. That's what this Stoic rule rewires. Your default operating system. You stop living in emotional autopilot. You start intervening. Modern neuroscience calls it cognitive reappraisal. It's when your mind looks at a situation, and instead of instantly labeling it threat or insult, it reframes it. That shift recruits your prefrontal cortex, the reasoning brain, and silences the amygdala, the panic center. Functional MRI studies from UCLA prove it. Participants who practiced reframing regularly had reduced amygdala activation and improved emotional stability in just 21 days. This isn't self-help optimism. It's synaptic rerouting. Think of it like software. Every time you pause and say, "This doesn't deserve a reaction," you install new code. And that code rewires the circuitry that determines how you feel, how you think, how you lead. The Stoics did this in silence. They wrote their thoughts in journals. They paused mid-conflict to remember, "I am disturbed not by events, but by my judgment of them." Judgment, not event. That one difference is the line between a calm strategist and a reactive puppet. Today, most people are trained by chaos. News feeds, algorithms, notifications, they train you to respond before you reflect, to feel before you assess, to collapse before you breathe. But every single time you step back, you train your biology to serve you. You tell your nervous system, "I lead." You follow. And with enough practice, your inner world becomes untouchable, even when the outer world is on fire. Let's take it deeper. Have you ever noticed how some people seem calm in chaos? Like they're built differently? It's not personality. It's programming. They've rewired their nervous system so deeply that reaction doesn't live there anymore. What triggers most people? They absorb, reframe, respond. Not because they're suppressing, but because they've built a deliberate distance between event and emotion. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, once said, "In between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." That space is what this Stoic rule expands. And expanding that space is a biological process. Neuroscientists have mapped it. Repeated self-regulation builds new synaptic bridges between the limbic brain and the rational cortex. This is actual brain growth. Every time you choose awareness over impulse, your brain builds new scaffolding for emotional command. It's like building armor, neuron by neuron. And the results? They go beyond inner peace. According to studies published in Nature Neuroscience, individuals who develop higher emotional regulation are 30% more likely to be promoted, 25% more resilient after failure, and 3x less prone to burnout. Think about that. The ability to pause and respond calmly isn't just a mindset. It's a measurable advantage in leadership, health, and life expectancy. But here's what's rarely talked about. Untrained minds leak energy. Every uncontrolled reaction is a leak of attention, of clarity, of power. You become exhausted not from events, but from your responses to them. Stoicism teaches you to seal those leaks, to become a system of internal conservation where no emotion is wasted, where even anger becomes fuel, channeled, not spilled. That's not philosophy, that's strategy. If you want results, you need a system. And that's what the Stoics secretly built, a psychological operating system, installable today. Let's break it down. You wake up. Instead of checking your phone, you ask one question. What today is under my control? That's not positive thinking. It's cognitive filtering. It focuses your mental bandwidth on leverage, not illusion. Psychologists call this locus of control. People who operate with an internal locus, those who focus on what they can change, are 50% less likely to suffer from depression and consistently outperform in leadership under pressure. Now, throughout the day, a trigger hits. Someone cuts you off. A comment hits a nerve. You pause. And instead of reacting, you inject a micro-thought. My response is mine. That pause isn't passive. It interrupts the cortisol cascade. It signals your nervous system to hold fire. And with each repetition, the brain learns. You're no longer a slave to stimulus. But we don't stop there. At night, you close the loop. You journal just one line. What did I control well today? What controlled me? This isn't a diary. It's a data feedback loop. During sleep, your brain reconsolidates emotional experiences, and what you write becomes prioritized data for long-term rewiring. According to research from the University of Massachusetts, reflective journaling increases emotional resilience scores by up to 29% in under 30 days. This is how warriors are built, not in big moments, but in micro decisions. The small pause, the small reframing, the small act of silence, done daily, becomes identity. And identity isn't declared. It's installed. When you do this for 30 days, your environment doesn't just change. You change. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your gaze becomes clearer. Your breath deeper. You walk into a storm, and the storm adjusts. Most people don't need a new life. They need a new lens. Because problems don't break people, interpretation does. The story you tell yourself about the problem is what determines whether you rise or fold. Once you adopt this rule, control or no control, you stop trying to change the weather and start changing how you walk through the storm. And the ripple effects? People around you begin to adjust. Because when you stop overreacting, others lose their grip on you. Your calm becomes a mirror, forcing others to see their own chaos. The nervous system is contagious. Studies show that emotionally regulated individuals influence group performance, group tone, even team heart rate synchrony, without saying a word. This is the invisible leadership people feel but can't describe. Now, what happens after 30 days? You're different. You don't flinch at minor disrespect. You don't spiral from uncertainty. You no longer crave peace, you embody it. You no longer crave control, you command your internal domain. And the voice in your head, it's no longer screaming, it's guiding. Stoicism didn't promise a soft life. It promised a strong mind. And today, that strength isn't optional, it's required. In a world engineered to provoke you, stillness is rebellion. Composure is currency. And your ability to respond, not react, becomes your personal superpower. The algorithm favors chaos, but the world respects clarity. And when you become that clarity, you're no longer just surviving, you're leading. So comment below. I command my response. Because now you do, and the world is watching how you show up next.